Can culture really persuade our thinking? I mean, really, does the world really shape and form our minds, the way that we think? I'm reminded of what Paul said in Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. As it relates to being conformed to this world and not being conformed to this world, but being transformed by the renewing of your mind. When I stop and I consider that word conformed, means to be molded. I think about this clay that I have in my hand, and as one who has the ability to form this clay the way that I desire to form it into, this is how the world has conformed our minds and molded our minds. I'm thinking about some things as relates to the three Hebrew boys and how the three Hebrew boys did not want to be conformed to the Chaldean world. The people of God had gone into Babylonian captivity, and the next thing you know, they wanted to change their diet and change their name and change their custom. And the three Hebrew boys said, no, sir, that's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, they told the servant, why don't you give us our own meals, our own lentils and vegetables, and give us 10 days, and I guarantee you that our lives, our bodies, our minds, well, everything will be okay. You know, when we stop and we consider those three Hebrew boys, on top of that, we see how we have been conformed even to the Chaldean language. When we read about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we call them by their Chaldean names. But really, their names is Azariah, Mishael, and Hananiah. So the question is why are we calling them by their Chaldean names when they didn't even want to be called by their Chaldean names? They wanted to be called by their Hebrew names. You see how we are conformed to this world? And when the Bible teaches us that we ought to make sure that we're conformed to the very image of Jesus Christ, Romans 8 and verse 29. Friends, are you conformed to this world? Let's look at something just real quickly. I want us to think about as it relates to how we communicate. Many of us today spend most of our time on our particular hand devices, our iPhones, our iPads, and we communicate with one another in that way. I got a question. When we consider real-time communication versus non-real-time communication, well, what is that? Real-time communication is this. Real-time communication is when I'm talking to you and you respond to me. Non-real-time communication is when I'm texting you or emailing you or IMing you and you look at it and you make a decision whether to answer me or not. Friends, what if God was like that? We can't text God. We can't IM God. We can't email God. You know, when we go to God in prayer, what does he do? He answers our prayers. And then we go to his word and we gather wisdom from his word, James 1 and verse number 5. Why are we conformed to this world? We need to be molded to the very image of God, of Jesus Christ our Lord. Question: how is your communication? Are you communicating the right way? We have been so conformed to the way the world communicates that we are looking down everywhere we go instead of looking at each other in their eyes. We have raised a generation that don't even know how to communicate with one another. They can text one another at the same table, but they put the phones down and then they can't even talk to one another. Oh, we have been conformed to this world. The question is it real-time communication or non-real-time communication? You judge.